Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're all about getting to those aha moments, skipping the noise, and really understanding things.
Right. No overload, just insight.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating movement, specifically what ties together things like, say, Tai Chi, martial arts, and even dance. They seem so different on the surface.
They do, but the sources we looked at suggest there's this really rich intersection. They share these like fundamental building blocks.
Okay, so common threads. And our sources focus on this, especially looking through the lens of a module for Pilates and postural stability instructors.
That's right. The idea was to see how understanding these core elements, the ones common across these diverse practices, can boost physical vitality, resilience, the whole package.
Makes sense. So our mission for this deep dive, pull out those key insights. What are these foundational movement principles, and how can understanding them make a difference in how we move?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so the material talks about moving bodies as like an integrated system. What's the big idea there? Is it different from how we normally think about, say, fitness?
I think it is, yeah. It really pushes back against viewing the body as just a collection of parts you train separately, like leg day, arm day.
Right.
Instead, it emphasizes the whole thing working together, a unified system, whether it's Tai Chi, martial arts, dance. It's all interconnected, like an ecosystem, maybe. Everything affects everything else.
That's a great analogy. An ecosystem. So it's not just isolated muscles doing their thing.
Not at all. And the sources highlight these shared principles that make that ecosystem function well.
Okay, so what are they? What are these core components that keep popping up?
Well, the first big one is whole body movement. This isn't just, waving your arms or legs around. It's about coordinating everything, your core, your limbs, even your breath, into one smooth, integrated flow. You see it in the spirals of Tai Chi, right? Or the power generation in martial arts that comes from the ground up.
Or even just expressive dance, using the entire body.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, like you said, if just focusing on isolated muscles misses something fundamental about how we're designed to move.
Yeah, it really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From parts to the whole system's efficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, what's another key principle?
Then there's multi-directional spatial awareness. Think about it. Life doesn't just happen in a straight line forward.
Definitely not.
We move forwards, backwards, sideways, diagonally, we rotate. These disciplines, they really cultivate the ability to move well in all these directions. It's crucial for adapting, for knowing where you are in space.
Which makes you think about how much of our lives are spent just moving forward, walking, sitting, reaching forward.
Right. Are we maybe neglecting those other planes and losing some capability or resilience because of it?
That's a really good point, especially for like balance and maybe preventing falls later on.
Precisely. And that leads right into the next one. Relative balance.
Relative balance. So not just standing perfectly still.
Exactly. It's not about being frozen solid, it's stability in motion. Think about shifting your weight smoothly, standing on one leg while moving, transitioning between postures without losing control. It's more about the ability to recover balance dynamically.
The art of recovery, I like that. It's dynamic, not static. Okay, what else is foundational?
Next up is cross-lateral integration. This is fascinating. It's about the left and right sides of your brain and body working together.
Like walking opposite arm and leg.
Exactly like walking, but also in pattern dance steps, or those opposing arm-leg combos in martial arts, or even rhythmic drills that coordinate both sides.
Okay.
And the really interesting bit, research suggests this doesn't just improve coordination, it actually seems to boost cognitive functions too, memory, problem solving.
Yeah.
Because it forces the two brain hemispheres to communicate better.
Wow. So moving your body this way is literally exercising your brain's connections.
Pretty much a workout for both.
That's cool. Really cool. Okay, keep going.
All right. Then we have rhythm and timing. This is huge across the board. Well, think about the focused breath rhythm in Tai Chi, or the obvious musicality in dance, but also, crucially, the reactive timing needed in martial arts, anticipating and responding.
Yeah. That reactive part is key.
Rhythm acts like an anchor. It controls the tempo, the precision, the whole flow. It dictates when to move, when to pause, when to accelerate.
It's like the background pulse of the movement.
Exactly. And finally, the sources emphasize proprioceptive enrichment.
Proprioception. That's your body's sense of itself in space, right? Like closing your eyes and knowing where your hand is.
Precisely. And things like slow transitions, subtle directional changes, they really enhance this sense. They fine-tune your awareness of joint positions, muscle tension, all that sensory feedback.
So you become more attuned, more aware of your body's internal map.
Yeah, you're refining your internal GPS. The better that feedback, the smoother and more controlled your movements can be.
Okay, so let me see if I got this. Whole body movement, multi-directional awareness, relative balance, cross-lateral integration, rhythm, and proprioception. These are the cornerstones.
That's the gist of it, yeah. These fundamentals underpin all these seemingly different complex movement forms.
It feels like complexity emerging from quite simple core ideas.
You nailed it. That's a really key insight from the material. How these relatively basic elements, when you layer them and integrate them skillfully, they create this incredibly rich, sophisticated spectrum of movement. It's kind of like, well, an elegance rising from fundamentals, maybe a sort of simplexity, if you will.
Simplicity, I like that. Simple foundations, complex results. Okay, so we understand the principles now. The sources then talk about applying these in a specific context, that module for Pilates and postural stability instructors. Why them in particular?
Well, they already work deeply with body awareness, alignment, core stability, so they have a strong foundation.
Right, it builds on what they know.
Exactly. This module aims to sort of broaden their perspective, showing how principles from Tai Chi, martial arts, dance can enrich what they already do. The goal is to give them tools for more holistic training, full body, rhythmic, multi-directional stuff to boost client balance and resilience.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's not replacing Pilates, but enhancing it
Okay.
with these broader movement concepts. What kind of things does the module cover specifically?
It gets pretty detailed. Starts with the neuroscience, how the brain handles balance, rhythm, coordination.
Okay, the science behind it.
Yeah. Then it moves into dynamic alignment, energy flow, how posture connects to actual motion, big focus on engaging kinetic chains, and importantly, fascia.
Fascia, that connective tissue web throughout the body.
Oh.
So thinking about how movement travels through the whole system.
Exactly. And the breath-body connection for flow states, that's in there too. Plus, moving in 360 degrees, integrating your vision, your inner ear balance system, spatial awareness.
Wow, that's comprehensive.
It is. It even covers different balance strategies. The tiny adjustments versus bigger recovery moves and practical stuff like fall recovery techniques.
That's incredibly relevant fall recovery.
Definitely. And for that cross-lateral stuff, there are specific contralateral drills, even creative things like body percussion.
Like clapping and tapping rhythms on your...
Yeah, exactly. And finally, it looks at using music and breath rhythm to consciously shape movement quality.
Sounds like a fantastic resource.
Hmm.
The material mentions some specific drill examples from a workbook. Can you give us a taste?
Sure. For example, breath plus spiral movement sequences. That clearly links to whole body movement and rhythm.
Okay, spirals. I can picture that.
Then maybe grounding stamps and expansive reach. Sounds like working on that stable base, then moving out, hitting balance and spatial awareness. There's a directional pattern lab using a clock face or compass points. That's direct multi-directional training.
Oh yeah, like step into 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Really mapping out the space.
Exactly. Then a progressive balance flow. Probably making balance harder by, say, closing eyes or using an unstable surface.
Being the challenge.
Right. And things like cross-body taps and step claps. Very clear cross-lateral rhythmic drills. Mirror movement practice, too, following someone else, which hits coordination and awareness.
And that rhythm walk and freeze game sounds like fun, adding that timing element.
Yeah, it brings it all together. These drills seem designed to make those principles tangible, something you can feel in your body.
Absolutely. It mentioned reflective prompts in the workbook, too. Why include those? What's the point?
That's crucial for actually applying the knowledge. They push the instructors to think about, okay, how does this connect to what I already do?
I see.
Like, what cues do I use now that actually tap into these martial arts ideas? Or how did adding spirals change how this client moved? It's about integrating the concepts deeply, not just learning new exercises by rote.
So it encourages them to be more thoughtful, more creative in their own teaching, based on these deeper principles.
Exactly. It elevates their understanding beyond just to the why and how.
This has been really insightful. So if we were to boil it all down, what's the big takeaway from this deep dive?
I think the biggest thing is just how much common ground there is. Underneath the different styles, Tai Chi's grace, martial arts power, dance's expression, you find these same core principles driving efficient, resilient movement.
Yeah, that whole body, multi-directional, balanced, coordinated, rhythmic, aware approach.
That's it. And recognizing those common elements, whether you're a pro or just someone who likes to move, that understanding can really enrich your own practice. It can make movement feel more integrated, maybe more effective.
Unlocking a deeper level of physical vitality,
I
perhaps?
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a thought to leave our listeners with. We talked about rhythm being fundamental. Considering that, could simply paying more attention to the rhythm of your own breath throughout the day be a surprisingly simple doorway to improving your overall sense of balance and coordination, even when you're just walking or reaching for something? What might you notice? Definitely something worth exploring. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.